So, Game of Thrones returns to our screens, the final season. As all the plotlines finally unfold before our lusting, demanding eyes, or are rushed to a conclusion because George R.R. Martin couldn't finish his books and the TV guys had to start making up random shit to close out the series before the actor contracts bankrupt the studio. It goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, this video is Spoiler City and I am the mayor of Spoilerville, so watch the show first. In the kind of development that causes Brie Larson to froth at the Southmouth, one of the key remaining stories is the battle for control of Westeros between Queen Cersei, the first queen to rule Westeros in many hundreds of your human years, and Daenerys Targaryen, the daughter of the deposed previous ruling family and last publicly known member of said family. The male contenders over the course of the show have largely met deliciously violent ends or decided to sell out and pick a team like Captain Charisma over here. Human males at least. Iceman's dad from the north is coming to crack some skulls, but the actual human ruler, assuming the show ends in a common TV, way, will be one of these two women. So it comes down to the choice of what woman with the difficult name to spell on first attempt do you prefer? For a sexual tyrannosaurus like me, the answer is obvious. The one that sounds slightly like a Japanese car, and not the one that sounds like a medical treatment for blocked intestine. They are obviously both young, attractive white women who would catch this dick, although given that one of them sleeps with gigantic rapey underwater man, and the other sleeps with handsome blood relation with one hand, I assume I would be a sad and unfulfilling sexual experience for them both. But other than being attractive, powerful and collectively out of my league, they are quite different, and this is where I start to prefer Cersei. You see, young sexy idiots, George R.R. Martin, like all fat bearded men who wear hats, was trying to make a point about feminism to get laid. Cersei and Dany share a lot of similar early upbringing stuff, being ignored, being used as pawns in the diabolical game of checkers that is marriage. They were both married off to people they didn't want to be married to, but whilst Dany was married to the godlike horse-whispering sex machine that is Aquaman, Cersei got stuck with a rotund British drunk with a passion for lying down and sweating a lot. Cersei has basically spent her life being raped over and over. Remember, whilst her dashing, well-hung brother was out learning to sword fight and trade quips like Guybrush Threepwood, she was learning how to hide periods, knit t-shirts and occasionally dish out a handy J so that her future husband/owner would be satisfied. Now don't get me wrong, Dany also had a bad upbringing, living on an island and then getting chucked over to Essos with the weirdos and the dickless degenerates and boy lovers over there. But at least she got to bathe thoroughly, and let's remember, she was told by that chick from Hollyoaks, if you want Giant Beastman to stop raping you, just be better at sex, which, incredibly, actually works, and he starts to respect her. Women, all you need to do to get a man's respect is to have amazing sex with him whenever he wants in any public place. An important lesson, surely. So she gains the respect of the savage barbarian Muslim, the totally not swarthy Middle Eastern horse-orientated social group people. By the end of Season 1 heading into Season 2, Dany discovers the genetic ability to never fucking die ever. In a slight change from the books, she basically can completely survive actual real fire for as long as she wants, and we get titty shots into the bargain. She has also been given 3 dragon eggs by virtue of being Khal Drogo's sex toy. Thanks to the magic of vaginas and blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people, she effectively gives birth to 3 dragons. By comparison, Cersei gives birth to 3 not dragons. These genetic dead ends may be cute and fresh-faced, but the vanguards of a continent-invading army they are not. Dany has been guided by the person who designed the final level in Enter the Dragon, dispensing the sort of vague Scientology-level mysticism that you'd find from those creepy psychics sitting in tents at the carnival. Cersei, on the other hand, was given lifelong inspiration from a homeless lady with a jaundice who sleeps in the woods and has a less than heroic commitment to hygiene. Dany's perfect Aryan looks attract all manner of people to support her, like the undying loyalty of Sir Friendzone, or like that slimy mercenary guy who completely gives up his entire life's work to bang her, basically. She effectively steals an army of dickless black men to rule over by agreeing a legit deal and then just saying, I am a white woman and I'm important, you peasant, now for doing your job, burn in hellfire. Meanwhile, back in fictional medieval Europe, Cersei gets to spend several seasons watching her family members die one by one, be betrayed by a Catholic priest, and ultimately get stuck in jail to be tortured by Nurse Ratchet. Keep in mind that, on the other hand, Daenerys effectively ends slavery, takes charge of Slaver's Bay, and later on, using her naked fire survival skills, takes charge of literally the entire Dothraki horde. Essos, if you're not aware, isn't just a petrol station, but it is in fact quite a lot larger than Westeros. With her ever-growing armies of thirsty betas doing her bidding, and the incredible lottery win of having medieval nuclear weapons that also follow her commands, she becomes more powerful than Skeletor and He-Man combined, and decides to invade Westeros due to her passionate belief in manifest destiny. She ropes in some of the women from the other houses and takes a cartoonishly large fleet across the sea. Meanwhile, everyone's favourite Mercedes saleswoman is stripped and forced to march through her own capital city, being spat on, abused, mocked, and having more than a few offers of sexual congress from the local underclass. Using only her cunning and knowledge, she avoids her obvious doom at the trial with the creepy Christians by using the little-known legal precedent of murdering everyone else involved. Sadly, this causes the last of her children to die in comical fashion, and she is declared the first queen of the Seven Kingdoms. But even this is nothing compared to Daenerys' achievements in being gifted success. Jon Snow, the most depressed-looking man in the history of the earth, is now the King in the North, a man who has literally told death to fuck off, a man who has seen firsthand the real enemy of all humanity, eventually decides that he'll bend the knee to this tiny white woman, who, even though to him she is technically a foreign invader and Cersei was a blood relation to the previous two kings. Not only that, but they end up having sex. Even he, the King in the North, wants to bang this woman. Almost like she does it as a reward for him doing what she wanted, like a transactional agreement. You bend the knee and then I'll bend the knee, you know what I'm saying? So if it's not clear by now, Cersei is my favourite character on this show. Given her background, the terrifying prophecy, the shame of her only true love, growing up as basically a womb and nothing else whilst the men get to learn cool shit like riding horses and stabbing necks, it's easy to see why she might develop into a bit of a bloodthirsty maniac. But she has had to earn pretty much all of her power, and she's had to do it after regaining her standing due to the walk of shame. For most people, a walk of shame would be a couple of blocks to a taxi stand after a drunken fumble up a lane in a cum-stained dress. She eliminated her enemies and accrued allies, using her weapons, her brain, her sweet body, and her willingness to do anything to succeed. She doesn't give a fuck, boy. Dany, on the other hand, has been granted most of her success due to being A, a Targaryen, B, sexy as fuck, and C, having dragons. She wins the loyalty of Drogo's horde by being hot. She gets dragons purely by chance, and those inspire others to fear and follow her. She gets the Unsullied, an entire army of black slaves, by stealing them. She convinces Daario and other men to follow her by having a plump ass. She breaks Dothraki tradition by basically taking charge of the entire horde of horse people by simply not burning to death. Her flawless white skin is what wins the day there. The leaders of Dawn will side with her because she isn't a Lannister, and Jon Snow hands her the North effectively because he wants to establish his kingship deep into her Iron Throne. No. You know, if I didn't also like Dany as much as I do, I would think there was a word to describe her undeserved successes.